瞳を閉じれば言葉などいらなくて、ああ君と響き合うくすんだ世界に光が差したのか、終わの範囲に照らされたい最後のその日まで、君のいない夜に戻れるほど強くなれない。穏やかにまどろむこのままでいさせて、
Hello, Kalu. My name is Notepad, and on and I write games for fun. So, I took a nap. Unfortunately, I laid my head down, and then I woke up, and I'm like, ah, shit, I woke. Every day I wake up. But, hello, here I am, Kalu. My name is Notepad, and on and I write games for fun. So what are we doing tonight? Tonight we're going to be working on stuff. The stuff is what we do. Nap maxing. Exactly. I can't even call it nap maxing because it's just, I'm going to lay down for 5 seconds. And 5 seconds becomes a lot of seconds. And then then you kind of wake up weird, like you don't quite know where you are. And then you're like, all right. Today's been weird though. So a little bit of context of what my day has been. Last night we had a tornado warning where I was, and it was like, yeah, it's gonna touch down and kill everybody. I'm like, okay, I'm going to die to the funny twister. I see. That lasted till like 2:30 in the morning, effectively. Rode that out. No one died, luckily. Nothing bad happened. So I go to bed. I'm like, okay. So I go to bed. Because I had to wake up this morning because there was going to be the plumber coming today. And the plumber was going to fix my sink. The plumber, I was told, would come anywhere from 9 to 11 o'clock. I'm like, alright, they're giving me a little bit of time. 8:15, I get a call. Hey, Notepad, he's coming in 15 minutes. Okay. I scramble awake. I put some clothes on. I greet him the best I can. And literally until about 2 o'clock about 1:30 in the afternoon, I'm getting both of my sinks replaced. So after that, I'm like, yay, I got both of my sinks replaced. I'm good. I'm awake. Do some things, just kind of rot for the rest of the day. It's this entire day I've just been very tired and kind of just rolling on that weird momentum. So, like, I'm gonna celebrate and get something to drink, and then I did, and here we are. But yeah, no, it's just been kind of that weird day, just kind of going with the momentum a little bit. I shouldn't do that, because what happens when I go with the momentum like this is I have a bad tendency of not feeling good. So I'm like, all right, I'm feeling great as I pass out and fall over. So here we are right now. So first things I would like to say is thank you, Corsefora, Prospero, Pizza01, and Grooving Gamer. Hope you know that I almost read that as Grooving Gooner at first because my mind is in permanent brain rot mode. So yes, hello. Thank you all for following. We're slowly crawling up the ranks, everybody. We're gonna make it. If audio sounds a little weird, I adjusted my audio setup a bit in a desperate bid to avoid this. It did not work. I impulse bought a desk, actually, and a little side desk. Wasn't too expensive. And I thought it was going to be coming today, but it's coming next week. So I'm like, fuck. So yeah, today's just been like 50 shades of just disappointment and wanting to go to sleep. So here we are. So, what is this? What is this? What are we working on tonight? Well, dealing how this is a Notepad After Dark, we can kind of work on a little bit of anything. And we're a little bit open for open mic night. You could say. I want to raise my mic a little bit here as well. I don't want anything falling off. Yeah, a little bit of open mic night. So if you have anything that you'd like to talk about, now's the time to do such. I will say though, today's video did not do very well. Yeah, I'm not too surprised. Doe was kind of a weird video to talk, kind of a weird game to talk about. And I'm perfectly fine with some videos just not doing well. That's fine. Some of these things just, some games just naturally do not, no one gives a shit about. That's kind of the nature of the beast when it comes to these games. Don't really expect much for Friday either. To be honest, I haven't been getting your notifications for the past week, even with the notification bell. That's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe I said something I wasn't supposed to, and I've been soft. You know, I've been shot in the back of the head. I don't. Who knows? But yeah, no. I'm still updating. When in doubt, always know that Wednesday and Friday there will be a video most of the time. I've got the video, I've got the script. Yeah, it's YouTube just being Monera as usual. I've got the script set up for Friday's video. Not a very long one, but this is like a true and honest rapid fire. Because this is literally a description of 3 different games in very quick succession of one another. Because there really isn't much more to talk about with any of them. That's kind of the problem. My post in question time. Let's do a quick look. Let's see. Hello. Okay, would you consider player skill to be an issue if the player skill is how the character levels up? Let me explain. Marvel Heroic Roleplay, make sure you specify which one. Offers milestones of 3 tiers. Tier 1 action rewards 1 XP, reward 3, Tier 3 reward 10. However, you can achieve the Tier 1 milestone as many times per scene as you want per unique instance. As an example, if your milestone is heal people or use your power to reduce pain, then you can heal 20 people and get 20 XP, but you can't heal the same person 20 times. Tier 2 to 1 per scene, and typically harder. Tier 3, it can only be completed once and generally very, very hard to complete and represent challenging who your character is at the baseline. Something like reverse the effects of a plague or admit to everyone cannot be saved and quit trying. Once you complete a milestone this way, you can replace it generally with a subsequent win or one that's a major win. In XP, concern was brought up with some players are just good at gamifying their personal goals and methodically employing the mechanics toward the goals, so they advance easily or rapidly, and some people are not, or they go for the cool or complex things over easily gamified concept in a language without similar progression. So basically introduces a player skill element to the progression. Players who get the progress, those who kind of look at the idea and not the game. Well, here's the thing. This is, at its very core, Ivory Tower design. You should be avoiding Ivory Tower design at its core, because Ivory Tower design is about fucking with the players, because it is to literally, and I do quote this nicely, gatekeep, gaslight, girl boss your players to make sure that you fuck with them, and you do reward the ones who know how to game the system and punish those who don't. Obviously, I don't think Marvel heroic role-playing is really about that. I don't think the entire idea is like, oh, well, you're gaming the system by healing 20 people. I think any GM worth their salt is going to say, no, you get like 5 maybe because we just did groups of people or whatever. Because what would happen there is that what you should do, if you ever want to get rapidly, if you want to become Ultra God, is you go to a hospital all day, and that's all you do. You go to a hospital and heal people all day. And then you come back as a Giga Chad. It's kind of like how technically if you ever want a power level in Fatal, you play 2 beggars and pass coins between each other. You literally get a bucket of coins and you hand them back to one another. That's all you do. Because that's how you level up. You get that. You farm max. You do things to game the system as much as you physically can, because that's half the joke. Generally speaking, though, if you want something like this, you need to either need to have a method that players are... How do I want to word this? You need a GM who is going to smack that shit down immediately. And I do mean immediately. Or you're going to have players who don't do that. And if they try to do something like that, they are either reminded that that's not how that works, or you kick them. And you're just like, nope, you're not doing this right. You're trying to be an asshole. Yeah, that's kind of one of the problems with games like these. Because yeah, you can game the system, kind of like with even like old school D&D and like money, and oh well, gold is XP or whatever. If gold is XP, the most efficient way to get money at the end of the day is to drop a bunch of gold down and pick it back up. What's the AP gain per coin passing? If I remember correctly, you get 1 AP per gold you get back. You end up getting from someone. And you may be saying, oh, well, that's not how that's supposed to be working. That's not how it's supposed to. Being like, doesn't matter. I get a bucket of coins, and me and my beggar friend spend every day doing that. We'll be fine. It's kind of like how you can technically become a level 3 farmer in Fatal very quickly if you subdivide your field into smaller fields, because there's no definition of what a field is. When it comes to things like this, you need to put a limit on it. Or you get those players who do choose harder ones. How do I want to... Players who choose more complicated ones that are better, you feed them more opportunities to do such than the one that is easier. That is one that is technically easier to game. It is, you just feed them more often or something. Or you start putting limits. So the fundamental idea of the system is probably rough. To a degree, yeah. Because the thing is, Marvel Heroic Roleplay does not assume you're going to play Heal Man and go to the hospital and spend an afternoon in New York Hospital for the... Or spend, 2 weeks in New York Hospital and suddenly become, on par with, the fucking Watcher. No, that's ridiculous. That's stupid. And you'd be like, no, that's not how that works. Like, yeah, sorry, you're not going to get that because that's not what the game's about. The game's obviously about being superheroes doing superhero things. It is a game about, oh no, well, it's like, oh, well, we need to heal people or use your powers to reduce pain. Well, because we've introduced the situation that I am actively going out of my way to heal someone. But the problem is, I'm healing someone rather than helping anyone else. It's heal civilians in need, or heal that. It's either you go real specific, real particular, you limit or you handicap players who are, how do I want to word it? You put a handicap on players who do things like that. Oh, well, yeah, if you just heal people, you heal 20 different people and get 20 XP. No. That's not how that works. No. You have to heal people in significant danger. Those 20 people weren't in significant danger because you guys showed up. Boom, done. You hamstring them. And the player will know. That's the thing you have to understand. If you go with the hamstring option, a player will fundamentally know immediately that you are hamstringing them. You are saying, I'm going to shoot you in the kneecap for the sole reason that you are gaming the system. It sucks. It's hard. Generally speaking, I don't do things like this. And if I do something like this, it's universal for everyone to encourage behavior. Because ultimately, this is what this is. It's to encourage behavior. Hey, you chose the thing about healing people. What do you want to do? You want to help people because you get rewarded for it. Hey, you want to go into Combat Man and do Combat Man things? You're going to get rewarded for it because that's your fucking job. It's not easy to do. I'm never going to claim that it is. It takes a lot of work going into it. It's great. Alright, let's get to it. So, this is Fortissimo. And this is Fortissimo. Fortissimo is a game. It is a visual novel, to be precise. I've talked about it before, but let's do a little bit. Fortissimo is a visual novel by a company I think called Lacrima. I believe it's Lacrima. Somewhat, didn't mean to hit that. Lacrima. There we go. This is by a Japanese company called Lacrima. You've probably never heard of Fortissimo. I can almost guarantee you have never heard of Fortissimo. Outside of me and Cole talking about Fortissimo. Why is that? This is not exactly a popular game in any remote capacity, in fact. I can't even say like, oh, well, it's a hidden gem or whatever. It's not. It's fundamentally not. This is a fairly obscure visual novel from a very certain time and place. Most notably that mid-2010s kind of fate had blown up, we want to make our own fate. That's one of the, you can kind of say, one of the main gimmicks of this is that it's trying to be fate a little bit. You may be saying, well, what do you mean by that, Notepad? Well, your magicians, tell me if you've heard this one before. Magicians are drawn into a battle royale-esque let's see. Magicians are drawn into a battle royale-esque contest, where the protagonist is a weak magician with a weak magician, but has to rely on friends, allies, and his special power to pull through. Wacky characters. Explosive outcomes. Autism. I call it autism for very specific reasons. But yeah, it was definitely trying to ride a wave. Now, I'm being VN slop. I'm being a little cruel to it. However, this is very important. Fortissimo was definitely on some shit. And now you may be thinking, Bobby, well, invisible penises. Well, that's the weird thing with Fortissimo. Fortissimo originally, hello phone. Fortissimo originally did not actually have, what's, okay. Fortissimo did not actually have a pornographic version. Yes, this was a visual novel with no pornography in it. At first, anyway. It gets a little bit complicated if you start going through the various versions. This is the original version. If you really just want to talk about it, what is the original, Fortissimo right here? This is Fortissimo proper. And I might be getting called away here soon. Fortissimo ultimately is, looking at it, ignore that. It's like, alright, it's just effectively it's a shonen battle manga turned into a visual novel that also wants to be a fighting game, but also a visual novel. But it's not a fighting game or a battle manga, it's just a visual novel. It's a little bit odd in that front. Let me see if we can bring up the battle side. Yeah, this is the main gimmick behind Fortissimo, is that it is extremely aggro. Extremely, like, yeah, we're big and we're exciting and we're really fast and we're aggressive and shit like that. It's a fighting game. It is a fighting game that is LARPing as a visual novel. Or a visual novel that wants to really desperately be a fighting game, depending on your specific brand of poison. Now, Fortissimo proper did not actually finish the story. Yep, that's a pretty well-known issue. It didn't finish the story. But they needed money, so they released EXS. What is EXS? EXS is effectively, let's add porn to our 15-year-old slop kino. So they added porn. They somewhat... Now, so the arrow was added post-release. No, Obscure Doka, even worse. They sold a different game. They sold a completely different game of Fortissimo EXS. This wasn't like a patch or anything. This was an actual new version of the game that added a bunch of scenes and added a bunch of things to it, as well as porn. And yes, they added porn. So it's like, all right. And then they released it a third time with Fortissimo FA. With Fortissimo FA having the normal version and the right version. This actually ends the story and technically has two different routes, you could say, which is I'll call it, using Tsukihime terms, near side, kind of the near side and the far side routes included in it. The near side routes being actually extremely simple to understand relatively, while the far side ones has the protagonist fucking die in them, and you have to you try to finish the rest of the story through a completely different character. It's very odd, and you're like, all right, okay, this is fine. Yeah. However, so, all right, fine. We released these 3 games. We've got our money. We are now allowed to create what we really want. Cadens Formata Accord Fortissimo. Cadens was what they... Yes, I shouldn't. Yeah. Cadens is what they actually wanted to make. Yes, this is the game they actually wanted to make. This is the sequel. There's no erotic scenes at all. There's no lewd scenes. There's nothing there. Generally speaking, it's pretty sexless. It's just, I want you to imagine you're a 15-year-old boy with your PS Vita. Again, you got your PS Vita, you're 15 years old, and you're like, holy shit, this is the greatest thing ever. Because that is what this series was. Because they're like, oh, hey, all that stuff we wanted to do with like Fate and all that, we're kind of like trying to ape some popular tropes or whatever. What if we took all the ideas we had there and did a lot of fucking meth? Just a shit ton of methamphetamines. And then they made this. And they ran out of money. They ran out of money. Yeah. Cadens is relatively also funny because it just didn't really have a lot of money behind it. It's a very ambitious game for various reasons. You see here 2014 mages. You see there's a couple of these games, and you may be wondering, wait, is it Notepad? Mages? That name sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah. Mages was involved in this. For those who don't know, they're the guys who did Steins Gate. It is effectively what happened was that they ran out of money, so they called up some of their buddies who did Steins Gate to help actually finish writing the entirety of Cadens, to the point where one of the special moves occurs is literally called robotics notes. Yes, it's robotics notes for those who let me see yeah, this is one of the abilities, is just a very clear reference here. And there is Steins Gate bullshit in it. Again, just imagine the writers of Steins Gate effectively being told to write 15-year-old slop kino. Action slop kino, no less. That is what we're working with here. And they did write action slop kino. And I think that's like one of the things that I am most fascinated by Fortissimo. I'm always interested in good stories. Because that, I think, is more important than anything. I like a good story, and I like a good lore behind things. Because I find it funny. I find it interesting, because I like to learn more about things. Especially projects like this. I get really fascinated with games like Cotton's, Fortissimo in general, the Fortissimo franchise. I get really fascinated in it because it's insanity. It's complete fucking bonkers. And yeah, they've got stat cards and how they all act, and don't worry, don't worry about any of them. Look, everybody, it's the Indian boy who does things. Have no fear. Here's Magic Man, but he's not magic. They don't use magic. These guys are not magic. Remember that. And of course, are the main character of Cotton's, who is not the main character of the first game. He's technically a villain, according to you, but you also play as him as well. Yeah, things get a little bit, things get a little funky in Cotton's. It's just like, let's just remember, hey, we can do something productive. Alternatively, what if we just do a lot of meth? What about that? Counterpoint, asshole. What if we do methamphetamine? To the point where there is technically a fighting system in this game. Yes, Far West did release. It released a couple months ago now. And everyone also said the exact same thing of, holy shit, Far West actually released. And I was like, yep, Far West definitely came out, and no one gave a shit. It was, I do plan on going over it, but this is Dollar Tree Fate. It's not Dollar Tree Fate. As Fate's strongest warrior, it is definitely not Dollar Tree Fate. I think the first game was, we want to ride the success of Fate, so we're going to make something vaguely similar, but one of the writers clearly had a different idea. And, like, one of the writers clearly had a lot of ideas, and there is lore. There's quite a bit of very interesting ideas in this game. Even down to the fact that magicians can't die. Secret story there. Magicians cannot die. A magician can get shot in the head with an anti-material rifle and they will get back up. They are not dead. The only way to kill a magician is to kill their magic weapon with your magic weapon. Yeah, the only way to kill a magician is another magician. And it's very easy to die after that. Everyone is playing rocket tag, so you have like this weird JoJo element to it as well, because some of these powers are pretty ridiculous. I'll bring these up. So Reiji here. Reiji's our protagonist. You want to know his power, his ability to do things is he resets things 24 hours. That's it. He resets things to a 24-hour state before. He uses this to fuck with the universe a couple times, because that's his ability. That's like this thing that he can do. And of course, his magic weapon is also a girl, who can really fuck your day up because she's super duper uber strong, with the ability to blow up things very easily. Now, you also get characters such as, let me see, yes, your sister, not blood related. Her magic weapon is just 2 fucking guns, but she also has a bunch of abilities to go super fast, or use different guns, otherwise known as her boot guns, which her legs become guns. It's ridiculous. There are some like weird JoJo elements to this, just because of the weird powers that go on. Hey, I can control 666 telekinetic knives perfectly, and that is my ability. And I could do a bunch of bullshit in addition to that. I'm like, alright, cool. And remember, I shoot him with a gun, with a 45, he's gonna get back up. He's not actually injured at all. Another magician has to kill him. And she does. One of them does. She does. She fucking kills him. This child just has a phone that says, nah, I can define rules. That's it. That's his entire gimmick. He can define rules. Physically, he's not very strong, but I can make a rule that you cannot hurt me. Ah, that's a little broken. Yeah, it is. And they make a point about it. There's a lot of little things like these, and it brought up a lot more interesting thought, you know. Another meth magician. Meth-gician. And they introduce a lot of weird things to fuck around with the idea. Because this world, Ichigo is one of the weakest magicians in the series. She is physically, her weapon isn't very good. She's not very physically fit. She's not very focused. She doesn't have huge mana reserves. She's not really that impressive at all. However, she has one ability, her one superpower, her one actual thing that she can do outside throwing some magic energy at you, is to erase you. If she gets up close, she can say, nuh-uh, and you cease to exist. You don't die, you cease to exist. That's her ability. That's all she can do. She has mastered the art of deleting you. That's a character you have to worry about. This is someone there. No use. So that's two no use. Just about everyone has a no you somewhere in this game. Hey, my glasses let me copy your abilities perfectly. Hey, I have an ability that I shoot out 7 spears, lightning spears, across 7 different realities. And if I kill you in any of those different realities, I kill you in all of them. That is one of his just abilities he can use. That's his final ultimate super technique. I can kill you across 7 realities. You're like, oh, all right. Then we talk a little bit about conceptual magic. Magic runs entirely off of concept. How strong is your concept? How strong are you? Can you power through reality? How much can you define reality? And they make a very strong point saying, she is not actually very good at her job. She's not. The problem is, her actual magic weapon, her actual abilities have such a strong concept, she goes through other people's magic if she is trying to cut them. Hey, I have the unbreakable shield. You physically cannot go through it. Nothing can damage me. And she says, nuh-uh, and goes through it. This is completely a bullshit series of assholes of fighting. And I want you to close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes and imagine you're a 15-year-old boy. And you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. And one of the big things too is they actually got God, what was her name? Let me bring it up. One of the main things this series is actually known for relatively is its music. Because almost all of the music is done by this person, Hades. Yosei Teikoku. Now, if you're a fucking weeb, you may know her. She does a bunch of anime OPs and a bunch of music and things. She pretty much did the entire soundtrack. Yeah, Yui Itsuki literally did most of the soundtrack in this. That's where all the money went. It's hype as fuck. And this isn't even dealing with miracle users. Because remember, none of these people you see here are magicians. They're miracle users. They've invented a way to kill magicians using the power of money. All of those are technically artificial magic weapons that let them kill magicians. Does it make any sense? No! Just make it very hype. God damn, I hate this game. I want to have it cast into the sun just by hearing it. It's fascinating to me, and I'm not really doing it justice, but you would have to be in a certain time and a certain place as a 15-year-old boy who just wants to get hyped the fuck up. And this really did it. And it was funny because, you know, I'm reading through it. I'm like, wow, this is, yeah, it's one of those things where it clearly was aping something. However, they decided to go their own way. When they do something unique, it is actually very fascinating. And I am invested in Fortissimo at this point. I am very invested because it is genuinely interesting. It is a genuinely interesting product. It is just marred by devs who aren't really good. The developers are not actually very good at their jobs. The ultimate counterpoint to many arguments in life. Oh, hey, you have something really cool. Counterpoint, you're just really bad at your job. And yes, this is all visual novels. And yeah, don't forget, this is important as well. They actually have a battle system in Coddens. So good yeah, honestly, good concepts, bad execution, unironically. If this was a fighting game, I think a lot of people would be like, yeah, no, it would be one of those weird hidden gems for deep lore Guilty Gear bullshit. If this was a manga or a budget anime or whatever, I think it would be, people would say, oh, hey, this is Kino, this is the greatest thing ever, blah, 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 you get what I mean. People would suck it off like BlazBlue back in 2009. Exactly. You have to channel that BlazBlue energy. And unironically, and I've discussed this with Commissioner, this is the Tekken 8 of RPGs. Unironically, yeah. You're seeing it. You're beginning to understand, Bobby Duke. It's hype as fuck. And you gotta be in the right mindset. You gotta be in the right look for it. And once you get into the right idea of it, you're like, oh, I understand why this would be popular. Because, yeah, they said fuck it. And they added a fighting system to this game. Yes, there's a fighting system on your PS fucking Vita. During a battle, you can trigger your super attacks. You have to press a button to trigger your super attacks. And of course you do it. And you're like, holy shit. Infinite time and infinite budget. These guys may have created one of the most hype shit ever. The problem was they did not have infinite budget, nor did they have infinite, yeah, they did not have either. They very much did not have infinite budget or time. At the slight yeah, no, it's you have no fear, you could buy it for PS Vita, everybody. You want to buy the PS Vita versions, you get the alternate, you get the Steins Gate and Robotics Notes alternate outfits, and of course you can also get the cards. None of these scenes are in the game, mind you. I want you to know that none of these scenes are actually in the game or anything. They were just selling these to get you excited. Please buy the game. You actually have to get, I believe you have to get a patch for some of these. Yeah, they wanted you to get real hype about it because the guys at Lacrima really like Fortissimo. Even though Lacrima is dead. Yeah, no, let's not beat around the bush here. Lacrima's fucking dead. We have no idea what happened to them. We don't really know where they might have gone. They are somewhat not around anymore. You even see like Momoji bot, Sayuki bot. Like these were two of the girls in there. Yeah, Momoji bot was posting stuff and ended when Elon did the bot purge for multiple years. Because Cottons came out in 2016, 2017. They were actually just endlessly putting stuff out. It was right here. It's so fascinating. Like, this is just a bot, and it's like every day. Like, oh goodness, do not play this, please. Yeah, like Crime was making music, I guess, because like that's the one thing they had. This is the last real instance, you could say, of Fortissimo. This is who we believe to be the lead dev, or at least someone who is very high up there. And I'm just going to scroll down rapidly. He was posting the same thing as like a bot or something. Because if you notice, again, it's that April 1st, 2023. He was bot posting the exact same thing endlessly. Should try to make a budget anime instead of VNs. I mean, if you're going for that Fate market, if you're like, I want to make a Fate, we want to make a Fate game, you're gonna make a visual novel, because if your visual novel does well, that means you're gonna get an anime, you're gonna get a manga. We could franchise this. We're gonna get big. You don't understand. We're gonna get real big. Yeah, remember, Steins Gate started as a visual novel. Steins Gate's pretty big nowadays. Not much anymore though. Yeah, no, it's nothing around here. They worked on a couple other visual novels that, as you can see, a PlayStation 2 visual novel called True Tears. Don't know what this is. Then you also have this one, which is also a game they made. Talking about here. Yeah, this is part of the Tears series. And they worked on a couple other like very obscure visual novels. And then they just went away. Disappeared into the metaphorical ether. That's the story of Fortissimo. This is, ultimately speaking, Fortissimo is a story about really wanting to make a franchise. And making a franchise is hard, and sometimes you fumble the bag. That is why we are looking at something that wanted to be a franchise, and those fascinate me. Yes. Now, this is also a thing that I should note, in case I ever interested you anymore about any of these things. This is very important. This is the international version. This is everything is you can get the official English game. Now you may be seeing, for anyone who is versed in visual novels and bullshit like that, it was done by Sakura Games. Yes, it was done by Sakura Games. The translation is apparently uber dog shit. Just complete dog shit. Like we hired a different We hired a company to translate it, and then we proofread it with a guy who doesn't speak English. That is what we were looking at with this game. Yeah, don't... It's not... Yeah. Yeah, it's machine translated, it's... Yeah. No option play it in Japanese, and the store page showed screenshots for it. Yeah, Sakura Games kind of, Yeah, Sakura Games kind of murdered this one in the crib for an international audience. To the point where probably, like... No, there's no fan translation mod. The best way to experience Fortissimo, unironically, is there's a guy who effectively, like, let me see if we can do, like... right here. There is literally a guy a couple years ago who uploaded a vast majority of the game. There huge chunks of this game are available on YouTube, and he plays through everything. And he translates it all in closed captions. This is unironically the best way to play the game currently, outside of using some, like, the weird method that he was doing it. Like, the way he was doing it was a little weird. There's a way to do it if you use, like, a machine like translate. It's mind you, and this is all of the routes as well, which is also very important because there are multiple routes. Notice that this is 101 videos, or 194 videos, final arc run-throughs, different Fortissimo run-throughs, because you have to do that. Right here, even you see 146 and hundreds of everything, because that's what you have to do. This is... Notepad, no, go back to that, no. This is a suboptimal way to play the game. Ironically, but it is... I've been referencing it back and forth because you kind of have to. And I sat down and I said, all right, let's fucking go. And I've been harassing most of my Discord has heard me and Commissioner rant incoherently. Rant incoherently about this, because sometimes there are things where they just don't explain it, because again, it's not good. People are saying dumb things on the internet. Yeah. Yeah, just like, oh, well, a bunch of people got fired recently from Microsoft, and be like, well, they can just make their own indie company. I'm like, do you realize how expensive that is? Like, do you really want to be the guy saying, like, oh, sorry, we can offer you no benefits and we can offer you nothing? Uh, so this is currently this is currently my autism with this one. It's a little bit complicated, so I'm gonna walk everyone through what the general plan is. So, the current situation is that how do we do all of these things? Most of the game is going to be most of this TTRPG is going to be taking place during the Mage War, post-COD ends. We're not really going to be worrying about the first game or the actual sequel, because there are characters who are established doing things. When you have a character who I can rewrite reality, things get a little bit hectic. So I'm like, okay, it's like, so we need to set it before and after, kind of in these blank zones. And the thing is, there was a mage war. People did fight about things. Alright, easy enough to understand. Now, effectively, one of the odd things is, how do we do powers? How do we do miracles? And how do we do, effectively, high-octane anime bullshit battles? Because that's what this game is. It is, how do you make anime like bullshit battles? That's the ultimate secret. Anime bullshit battles are the hard part, because it's not like this is a thing that we can like really easily like go back and cite, like, oh well, we'll just check out the anime, or we'll check out the... That's worrying. Give me a second. Hello, I'm back. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, my mother wanted to see my new sinks. Yeah, welcome to see, the thing is, because here's the thing when it comes to battles in this context that makes things a little bit complicated. Now, when we think about it, in a normal fight scene, in a normal constructed fight scene, it's me with, let's say, we're fighting it, we're fighting tooth and soul, and we cling clang clang, and this is kind of what we're really focusing on, narratively speaking. We're people are going back and forth, we're dodging, we're trying to counter one another, a bunch of things are going on. Now, I've been actually needing to cite anything, and legitimately fucking anything, to get a good idea, and the closest I've been able to find what they claim is going on. Because you gotta remember, all we see at the end of the day is like this. This is what you see in the game. Oh no, Momoji is using her super ultimate technique. You see like the golden attack, like let me see if we can find she's using, like, this is your combat scene. Like, this is what we see. This is what we have to actually base shit around. This. It's like, how do you get this scene right here? How do you get this scene to be anything, technically speaking? And you look at it, you're like, can you even make something like this functional? Because it's not toot hoot. It's very clearly not toot hoot scale. We're not we're not flying around blasting each other with magic. That's why I was kind of citing Jujutsu Kaisen a little bit here, because honest to God, this is probably the absolute closest there is of just of what we're actually working with here, of just scale wise. People are on the ground, people are still fighting one another, but we all have bullshit super techniques. Everyone's got bullshit super techniques, but how do you actually make that into a workable format? This is a lot harder. Thought someone broke it. No. See, the beautiful thing is, you can rest assured that no one will ever break into my apartment, because I am on the second floor behind 3 locked doors. They will sooner break into my mother's apartment than mine. Like, it is a task to get into my apartment. So have no fear on that front. But that's kind of the scale we're working on, and this is not even dealing with the bullshit powers yet, which by itself is going to be a nightmare. Like, that is by its nature going to be a complicated extravaganza. Because what I kind of deduced more than anything is, at the end of the day, we're making a fighting game TRPG. We're making a fictional fighting game RPG. But in this fictional fighting game, there's one very basic rule. You don't win by punching or chip damage. You win by using a special on them. You have to reduce them to 0 HP and then use your special. Yeah, not sure how you're going to make this into a playable game. That's why we're here. This is why I get paid to write these things, because I'm a genius and I'm the greatest game developer of all time. I've got the basics down, though. Because, honest to God, at the end of the day, all we really... These are still just human beings. Yeah, I'm a mage and I can do crazy anime bullshit battles. but they don't really. It's the powers are where things get really hectic. At the end of the day, if we are getting into a fight, we bring up our hand, we start throwing hands. That's what we gotta do. It's, oh hey though, I'm gonna use my bullshit super technique, but I'm gonna use my bullshit super technique. And, you know, through the ashes of the apocalypse, my ideology will rise. And that's where things get complicated. You can do the level 1, our baseline fighting. It's where you hit that, like, the actual hard part is where the powers come in, how those interact with the actual combat scenarios. And I've got a few ideas. So, to give you all a very basic way, effectively, there's two characters, I guess you could refer to them as, or types, or whatever. I'm gonna have to really speak with the commissioner. Maybe the seal thing you did for the Maguka girl game, where the super is just a win condition resulting from building momentum. There's a couple ideas to use that from, but one of the ideas, this is where things get a little bit weird. Magicians pretty much have access to their power 24/7, but it doesn't change. You are not adaptable. However, you can always bust out the I have a magic gun. I have a magic gun that allows me to go super speed at any time I feel like. This is not a threat to me. A miracle user at the end of the day, kind of the miracle users. Let me bring up Cotton's Fortissimo. Lacrima.info real fast. Then we hit the Cotton's website, the PS Vita edition. And then we go to Kara. Let's say, for example, our guys down here. What's her power at the end of the day? Her power is she has a gun. She's not durable. You shoot her with a 45, she is going down. Her one advantage is that she has a way to bend time with her gun, and she has the ability to link slash, which is kill your magic momentum. As a miracle user, you are fundamentally human. You just have a lot of money. In a world of Superman, you're going to be Batman. Sniper rifle girl. Yeah, and fucking pop a mage in the head. What are they gonna do about it? You've cut them off and now they're going to die. Now, the thing is, these are like, how do you make someone powerful? Make numbers bigger, you give them something bigger to make them powerful. Yeah. Runes are a fancy word for powers. Our fancy powers let us do things. How do we make them? Are they odd? This is where we started having some like weird epiphanies about how powers functioned in all actuality. Because at the end of the day, we thought like, okay, what is a power at the end of the day? Let me bring up Momiji. Here's Momiji. Okay, Momiji's not a very good item. Momiji's not a very good example. Here's Ryuichi. Okay, everyone, it's Ryuichi. These are Ryuichi's actual magic abilities. He literally has a bandana, a glove, and another glove. That's it. His super cool magic power is that he hits people really hard, and he is made of lightning. Cool. That's all he does. But what's his actual superpowers? I hit you really hard. I hit you really hard. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to create 9 lightning spears and choose absolute victory by choosing the possibility of the opponent failing to dodge. This is his last resort. Thor hammer full axis super duper mega, claims I attack to realize ideals while accepting reality. Only lethal can realize the possibility where he will win. The Asgard Wolf. At the end of the day, most of the powers boil down to I hit you hard, I hit you really hard, I hit you super duper hard. Yeah, so what I was thinking about doing when it came to like powers and stuff is be a little bit, we would need to define, how do we want to work? We would need to define how making powers powerful, if that makes sense. Effectively, our runes are our powers, effectively. At the end of the day, runes are our powers. However, our magic weapon defines that. This is where I kind of came up with the idea over here. What is your magic weapon? You actually have a weapon. It is an actual, honest-to-God weapon. You want to know what you can do with a sword? Stab someone. You want to know what you can do with a shield? Protect yourself. You want to know what you can do with a piece of clothing? You gotta wear it. But then you get weird ones. Hey, I have a flip phone. Hey, I have a magic gem. Hey, my right arm is my magic weapon. Things start getting a little complicated then. Because remember, I can get my head blown off. I can be completely eviscerated. But as long as my magic weapon is perfectly safe and not being targeted by another magic weapon, I'm perfectly safe. I will come back. You have a sword. I have the, Nibelhagen, Albrecht Super Duper XL Deluxe, but it's represented by this magic crystal sword. This magic crystal in my hand or whatever. Haha, I can use, in 25 different realities, I can bend time to make sure I do bullshit. What does the guy with the sword need to do? He needs to stab me. Owie zowie, my bony wonies. So kind of having making making our actual runes more along the idea of breaking these down into more like offense, defense, and like utility powers. Actually, not even utility, like kind of our offense and defense powers are a lot more defined. They are have damage values. They are, hey, this thing lets you block X amount of damage, or hey, this blocks all of this kind, or this blocks all of this, which I actually found a game that might help us here. I hit your ideals really hard as a last resort. But then we have our kind of like our utility powers, kind of like our like weird powers, you could say. Because at the end of the day, our main character, our main actual character, Reiji here, Reiji has Da Capo. Da Capo, right here, ability to restore status of an object in 24 hours time frames. At the end of the day, he effectively has the ability to he has Crazy Diamond. That's all he has. He has Crazy Diamond. That is his power. He says, hey, you have been hit by an attack and you are bleeding. No, you're not. Hey, oh no, you are you got hurt. This object broke, this table broke. No, it didn't. I reset it 2 hours ago where it wasn't broken. That's all he does. That is the main character's actual fucking power. He's completely support based. And all of these other ones are things that he gets later on through other people. Because this is where things get really weird. You can share runes. You can learn runes from other people. And if you develop a strong enough relationship with them, you start getting runes from one another. Hence why on the different routes with the different girls, you end up with their runes. You end up with their powers. Because, hey, you formed a deep relationship with them. They care about you, and you care about them. And because of this, I have successfully learned the ability to bend time. In EXS, the porn version, you outright get superpowers by having sex with people, including but not limited to your stepmother. Don't worry, it's fine. You're not blood related, and she's in her 30s. But yeah, it's one of those moments you look at that, you're like, okay. Well, she's not really your stepmom, I guess. I guess adopted mother would be a more accurate term. Because your parents are dead, sort of. It's complicated. So she takes in a bunch of people being like, I'll raise you as my own, because you're my adopted children. Don't look at your sister. Don't look at your sister that way. MGE game might have something to pull from them in that regard. Sex moves, anyone? No sex moves. However, we're going to have a way of... How do I want... There might be a player whose entire purpose in life is to friend Max. They are so friendly. They don't have really any super offensive powers, but they just give their really useful powers to everybody else and get shit in return. It's one of the games. The game that I was actually thinking about. This was my $1 million IQ deduction I had today when I was going over some stuff. Was actually for a game for this weekend, which was behold the mighty Brickman. Brickman here, who has the amazing ability where he fell into a vat of bricks and gained superpowers. You notice here this idea of strike classes. Pretty much the more powerful your abilities, the better they are, effectively. My weapon of choice, the brick, is a strike class 4 weapon. It is fundamentally better than just fisticuffsing people, and certain weapons are like, oh hey, you negate all damage from strike class, lower strike class, or something like that. So I thought about it a bit, and I was like, oh wait a second, we can make this work. I'm like, all right, we have some ideas there. But kind of the idea with here is, if you focus really hard on your funky dunky powers, which are very open, very interpretive. I'm using a game called Everway as a baseline example of this. Probably none of you have heard of Everway, and I don't expect anyone to know this game. But Everway is an RPG where this is a kind of break down all these powers into just a point system. And I was going to use that. Fun fact, this is also published by Wizard of the Coast. I was going to use this for kind of the weird powers, where you have a lot of room to really define your weird powers. The problem is, the gimmick, you could say, is that your offensive and defensive powers are usually going to be better than your weird powers. The ability for me to stop time for everybody for 10 seconds. I stop, everyone stops. We just take a second and we just stop. For 10 seconds, we all have time to think. That's all it is. This is a very weird, useful power in a couple different circumstances. I can't move during stop time. You can't move during stop time. No one is moving during stop time. We just have time to think, and we have time to cool ourselves down a little bit. But is that useful compared to Ultimate Thunder Thor Hammer kick you in the dick? That's kind of the the back and forth valuations of these two. If you have really weird powers, you have a lot more options. You have a lot more stuff to do and a lot more things to think about versus offense defense abilities, which are a lot more numerical and a lot more immediately valuable. And each of these are going to have a special stat called concept, which you can buy concept, and if your concept beats their concept, you will always take priority. I have it on my shelf. See, you are one of the only people that I have found in the past couple days who know what the fuck Everway is. There are just nobody. It's weirdly obscure. The fact that it was published by Wizards of the Coast. Yes, this was a Wizards of the Coast game originally. It's kind of doing its own thing now, but it's just kind of an odd. I was literally sitting out front of a coffee shop, kind of like, man, I'm like really struggling with this, and then I found that I'm like, that's fucking genius. This is what we're working with here. We can make this work, because suddenly, because we have this, we can make powers to be, we can make them really strange. That's the big thing. We can make some powers really strange, but we're not fundamentally ruining offense or defense powers by you having a bullshit ability, which kind of links back to the idea of concept, which is, I have an unbreakable shield. You have the ultimate weapon. The ultimate weapon has concept 5. My unbreakable shield has concept 4. My ultimate weapon will go through your shield because it beats your reality out. But this is kind of a weird double-edged sword. Hey, my concept is 8. Having concept 8 versus concept 1 is no different than having concept 8 versus concept 7. You've invested a lot of points making sure your thing breaks reality better than everyone else's thing. The issue being, you have spent a lot of points to break reality more versus, hey, I have the ability to just play around you. Which is how the Uber Haxor kid actually loses. Is someone breaks through his nation of reality. He says, no, here are the rules. You can't break my rules. And someone says, yes, I can. My wires break the rules. And then they go, and then he gets turned into mincemeat. Kind of like Noblesse. To a degree of Noblesse. Not as loosey-goosey. I'd say it's not going to be as loosey-goosey as Noblesse. Just because offense and defense powers are going to be as important as they are. But I think working with this should be a better idea than what it was before. Rather than like, oh, well, we need to kind of make everything, or instead of saying we need to make everything work worthwhile, it's some abilities are going to be useful. Yeah, the ability to stop time for 10 seconds is a very powerful ability. Will that save you from getting stabbed to death? Probably not. On the other hand, I have the ability to blink out of range of your attacks. That's a pretty useful ability if you are fighting somebody who is, trying to kill you, trying to stab you to death. Being able to clap, 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 get further and further away. We do have mana to actually worry about, which we can also balance weird powers around a little. Now, magic weapons, as I was kind of saying, up here. I have a couple ideas of how I want to do this. Part of me wants to say, you choose a magic weapon, and that's how many points you actually have to play with the exception clause being, hey, you now have to worry about this. Is anyone going to comment that you have glasses on? No. Is someone going to comment when you bring out your fucking Buster Sword? Yeah, there's gonna be some questions. People are gonna be like, that's a little odd. It's kind of like, the weirder your powers are, the less obvious your weapon is going to be, and more you have to kind of protect your weapon in a different way. Versus, hey, I just have a sword and I'm going to bum rush and stab you. If anything, I still have a weapon. I still have a weapon and I can still hurt. I might be out of... I'm out of mana, but I'm not out of options. I'm like, okay, if we work with this should work. And that the main goal is to create the... Well, not you, you have an exception clause. But generally speaking, how do we create these two? All she has, all our girl here has, is a shield. She's a shield that can shoot energy beams sometimes. Our guy here has playing cards that he could throw at the enemy to hurt them. That's it at the end of the day. Her runes aren't amazing, but she has got the ability to protect people almost perfectly. He's got a mid weapon and a mid runes. On the other hand, you get, kind of more weirder exception clauses. That's why I was even thinking about having like a magic weapon being like remote's kind of a weird way of wording it, but for his special magic weapon, which is this is an actual person. Because remember, a magician needs to protect their magic weapon at all cost. They die if that gets broken. On the other hand, miracle users just have to worry about their paycheck. So, yeah, that's kind of the idea. The talk to the commissioner. It looks like he wants a D6 game. A D6 dice pool is what was brought up. What does this mean? I don't know yet. I'm going to sit down with him hopefully tomorrow sometime. Tomorrow, Saturday, maybe even like Sunday or something. And just sit down and be like, let's hammer this shit out right here, right now. And once we hammer this shit out right here, right now, we can get a better idea of how this is going to work. I think a D6 dice pool would be ideal. We can go with D6s or D10s. Both are pretty valid. I'm feeling a bit more comfortable with D6. But that's just me personally. Because I like D6s. D10s would work as well. The thing with D10s is that you can't bring as many of them onto the field as to make this pretty easy to run. Ultimately, this is going to be run on a VTT. It doesn't need to necessarily be run on a VTT, but let's just assume that it is. So it's like, I don't want to be like, well, the restriction is we can't have more than a dozen dice or whatever. No, the number of dice isn't a huge issue, but we should still think about it. It's still pertinent to think about. D4 dice pool. Silence, Spartan, and you're evil. You're evil in this house. But yeah, Fortissimo is going to be an odd duck. Simply because there's a lot to consider. There's a lot of things going on with Fortissimo. A lot of ideas going around and around and around that need to be accounted for. That the game doesn't really do a great job of explaining. It really does not explain how any of this magic shit works. It literally runs off of rule of cool sometimes. And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. This is one of those situations where it's pretty bad because we want to put some numbers behind things. But we can improvise. Improvising is what we do best, right? Because we are the Sprug Workshop and we struggle every day. Anime power levels are bullshit. All right. So, it's like 12:30 and I have to record audio anyway. So what I'm going to do is we are going to perform the count. Yes, everyone, get ready for the count. We love the count. The count saves us. The count keeps us alive. Let's see, this is the patron round. Welcome to the proletariat round, everybody. This is what the people demand. This is the count. So, oh Jesus. Iron Casket's leading the charge with 26 votes. Boots in Mud with only 5. Boots in Mud with only 5. Not a great start, Boots in Mud's bros. Man or machine? Man or machine? Metal or flesh? Surprising, Soldat Sans Identité has managed to eke out a slight advantage over Metal Saviors. Kind of the class favorite there a little bit, you know, kind of lagging behind already. On that river of blood. Flag bearer for 18. Song of the White Carnations 13. A little bit of a slugging match there. Animu 2. Animu double or nothing. OG-san winning the charge with 19 versus Cruciform's 12. Again, I am the avatar of democracy. Yeah, we've got some upsets currently. This is the Cruciform bros. What's your response? So that brings us to the patrons, of course. Though we gotta want to go to individual. This is there. Let's see this. Soldat Sans Identité. Oh. Flag bearer. Cruciform. Ooh. Metal Saviors finally getting some love. Song of the White Carnations catching up just ever so slightly. OG-san Demon Slayer completely murking Cruciform currently. Let's see. There we go. Iron Caskets yet again. Oh, Metal Saviors eking out a small victory here. Ever so slightly for Flag Bearer. Cruciform's catching up slightly. Let's see what our final vote is coming in for. What was that before? Oy vey. Soldat Sans Identité. Ooh, big fucking fist fight going on here. Song of the White Carnations. Fist fight going on here. A little bit closer than I was thinking. Yep, here are the current results of the Obsession Project. Little bit. We got some fist fights going on. Shit, I forgot to vote. Crucible loses because I forgot to vote. I'll be upsetty. Hey, you've got a couple days. Nope, this is not the final count. You've got a couple days. We've got, let's see. We've got till the 14th. So we've got, Goku loves democracy. Do you? Yeah, no, we've got the little precarious there, everyone. Honestly, the Dakota question was a little fascinating because I thought Boots and Mud would eke out a little bit stronger win there, but Iron Casket's kind of getting that decisive victory right off the bat. Ooh, Soldat Sen's Identité. Personally, I thought Soldat Sen's Identité would be dead in the water. I did not know that it would eke out a early victory over Metal Savior. That's a little bit of an odd one. The fist fight going down on that river of blood is surprising me. And Ojisan Demon Slayer Corporation getting even as far as it has against Cruciform is very fascinating. Though there might be some retaliatory voting going on for the Fists of Chaos losers who threw their hat to Fist of Chaos and lost dramatically. There might be some fighting going on there. There might be some duels for supremacy. But that's half the fun. That's the exciting. This is the exciting war. This is the battle. This is the battle of the century. This is what you wish for. All right, I'm going to call it here right now. So, Godspeed, good luck. I will see you all on Friday. Have a wonderful rest of your day.